All right, I'm Hanna Basil. I own Bankhead Flower Shop. I bought about 2.5 years ago, and before that, I was a school teacher. Let me put my knife down. It's kind of aggressive. Um, I was a teacher before that. I taught kindergarten and fourth grade. And between kindergarten and fourth grade, I went back and got my administration license, thought that I wanted to be a principal, tried that, did not like that, ended up buying a flower shop. So you never know where life will take you. But as Leanne said, she was my teacher in high school. And I did want to say, before I start, she was the best teacher. Just how she was today, that's how she was as my teacher. And she just made me, I still think about how, like, I was not athletic. I wanted to be a cheerleader, and I was the worst cheerleader in the world. Miss Melissa was my cheer sponsor. She tried to work with me, but and she made me feel like I could, do other things. You can be artistic or creative, or we did journalism. You can do that. There's other things. It's not just what everybody else is doing that you have to do. So she always made me feel special when it was kind of like a, hard high school time, to feel like you fit in and you're special and that you're not good at the typical things, but that's okay. So I did want to say that about me. Before I get emotional. Okay. Anyway, so we bought Bankhead about 2.5 years ago, just kind of on a whim. My husband is a banker, and he's always looking at investment. He said he was going to buy it as an investment, and wanted to know who I thought could run it. And I was like, before I let somebody else run it, and I'm up there every day anyway, let me just, give it a go. As I said, I liked art and kind of creative things, so I thought, well, I'll try it, even though I've never done it. It's kind of fun to do something different. So that is my favorite thing about owning the flower shop is there's something different every day. My dad always called me a roustabout. He said that if I was sitting down, I'd be like, okay, I've got to go to Walmart, or I've got to go meet so-and-so. I don't like to be still. So that's the good thing about owning the flower shop. It's something different every day, very busy, very fast-paced. There are lots of casket pieces, as Leanne said, which I was not prepared for. But I enjoy doing those way more than I thought I would. But today I wanted to show you how to use the wet foam, and you can get this at Hobby Lobby, and I think Dollar Tree even has it. I know they have dry foam, but the key to the wet foam is to make sure that it's soaked all the way through. You cannot push it down in water. You have to let it sink on its own so there are no pockets of air. If you push it down in, there'll be dry spots in it, and then your stem could end up in a dry spot. So you just sit it on top of a bucket of water, and it soaks its way down through so that it's wet all the way through. If I had pushed it in and then cut it, you'd see like that the center was still dry. So anyway, this can work on any pumpkin. I believe all of you can do this, but don't make it your job because I don't need any more competition. Just do it for fun. All right, so anyway, I'm just putting it down on the stem. You do need a stem, or you could always tape it on, but the less, tape, wire, things like that, the easier to me. That's less to hide. Again, if you want to be less to hide, you could cut some more of this off. But I brought non-traditional colors because I knew Leanne's pumpkins were going to be funky, so I brought some pinks and oranges. When I'm arranging or creating, I always start with my greenery. So this is one of my favorites. This is Italian ruscus, and it's just really pretty and viney, drapes pretty. I use this a lot for weddings and events. Okay, but I'm just adding greenery right now to kind of cover up the base of my oasis there. This is grevillea, and it's a good fall greenery. And you see, you don't want to just cut one piece and then throw it away. This can be cut into several different pieces, and I like to cut it at a break so that it kind of looks natural. I'm just going around feeling, and people have asked me about balance and line and all those things I learned in Leanne's class. I mean, I just really go with my heart. I do not have a plan right now. And as a matter of fact, Karen that works with me at Bankhead filled this bucket up, so I really don't even know what all's in here. But we're going to make it pretty. But this is another type of ruscus. This is Israeli ruscus, and this is a really common greenery that stays in our cooler all the time. It's good and skinny. Gives some height. Okay, so I think that's plenty of greenery. I don't know how it's looking from the front. Is it crooked looking? All right. This is a pink Floyd rose, and this is an open one. They start out pretty tight, and they just open up. They blow up really pretty. So that's a pink Floyd. Put him right on the front. He makes a good focal point. But I know these won't last but a couple more days. They're from last week, so I thought I'll use those today. Make a happy little arrangement. But yeah, this you could do the piece of oasis on anything. You know, you could sit it on a little tray or a piece of pottery for like a Thanksgiving centerpiece. It just makes it easier because it, you know, holds everything in place. When you're using a vase, everything starts to flop around and kind of make you frustrated. This is a snapdragon, and it's a talisman. That's the color. It's orange, pink, reddish color. I use those a lot in the fall. Kind of pulls a bunch of different colors. And these are Lysianthus. This is like a funky kind of, with all those lids, you look pretty. And then I've got some really pretty moms, which kind of gives it a more fall vibe. This just smells like homecoming to me. Gives me PTSD this year, if y'all didn't hear that. We had the ceremony pieces to do. Like, it's pretty much like a wedding, you know, had to do the bridesmaids bouquets and the maids bouquets, the queens, and the ceremony pieces. And then we had probably 100 corsages to make. Well, they're fresh, so you can't start them too far ahead. So we had planned to start everything Wednesday morning. Well, they called us Wednesday morning and said, we're going to do homecoming tomorrow because of the hurricane, and asked if I could have all of the gifts and the corsages and the ceremony ready by then. And I said, well, I guess I'll have to if y'all are moving it. So it ended up working out even better because then by Friday we were kind of done and chill. But it was a wild 24 hours. And, you know, every single mom in town called immediately and wanted to know if we knew that it had been changed. I mean, the phone did not stop ringing for probably 2 hours. I said, that story will go down in my history books for sure. It was crazy. So I'm just kind of filling in space now. I like, you know, some things deep and some things high just for some dimension, and different colors. I mean, you can always do like a grouping of certain flowers together just for a, you know, different look. But this is kind of my typical go-to. And then if you do something with wet oasis, you just need to make sure you keep it wet to keep it alive. You could sit it on something like this to water it and keep the oasis soaked through. And then this is wax flower. This is a really good filler because it's so big and open. But just to kind of go back and fill in the holes. All right, this is lily grass, and I like to loop these. This is super easy, and it kind of elevates it. But I just take them and loop them. Get a little piece of wire tape. And then this is going to be my finishing touch. See where it needs it. I'm trying to do it backwards so y'all can see. A loop. Ta-da!
Love it.
Thank you. Which one?
Did you use that?
I didn't. This is variegated pit. Yeah, just another type of greenery. But we do go back and fill in with that. It like you can break that up into a lot of different pieces as well. Pit. I'm sure that's short for something, but it's variegated pit is what we call it. I just call it what they call it. Like I said, I'm just a teacher trying to do a flower arrangement. See, and I can mess with one all day long. They'll have to say at weddings, they'll be like, okay, That's it. Time to move on. The bride's about to come. That's enough for me, ma'am.
I think you said how far in advance can you put something like that together?
I would say 2 days. It would be still pretty for 2 days, but I would keep it watered. You know, in a vase longer than that. But with that wet oasis, 2 days probably max. If it had a water source, like this right here on a big like urn or tray is what I would use, and so it still has water that it can continuously drink, that's fine. But since one doesn't have a water source, it wouldn't last more than 2 days, I wouldn't think. Well,
Can you just pour water directly on top of it and just let it drip?
Yes, you can do that. It's just better if it can, you know, continuously
Soak
drink.
up.
Because even after, like, if I put this out at a wedding reception in the morning, by the night the water would be gone. The oasis might still be damp or wet, but there'd be no water left in the tray from the flowers drinking it. So anyway, I have a big hole right there. I look from all my angles.
How long does it take for the oasis to become?
It does not take long at all, and it will start. You know, once it sinks, it's ready to roll. But I've seen a lot of people, like you'll have a wedding or two where the bridesmaids are going to do a few things and they're just shoving it down in there. You know, so I see that a lot. That's why I thought I would share that bit of information. All right, well that's all I have. Thank y'all so much. I saw a video too online where the girl, she was probably my age, maybe younger. She said, "I'm going to put my flowers in the window now to give them some sun, but cut flowers do not like sun." I don't know if that was like a misconception, but people in the hospital will put them in the windowsill. And then, you know, we've had a complaint or two where they're like, well, they died after a few days, but they die pretty quickly when you put them in a windowsill. And that is a common place to put them, you know, by your sink in the windowsill or in the hospital, but you can keep them out of the sun and then change your water out. But yes, in the refrigerator, that's, you know, the equivalent of us putting them in the cooler. They last a lot longer that way. As long as you don't put them against the side and they freeze, because they will do that. I had a rat bouquet do that once. So, all right, that's all for me, y'all. I enjoyed it. I'm still seeing stuff.